right, I'm here with the eyewitness of the Saskatchewan Sasquatch. I mean, his description was thorough.
It had beaten the lies that were evil.
Looks like the second half of the creature double feature arrived.
It's the last video for a while. Hit a wall with our Demon of Detroit Lakes piece. And you know, I'm just kind of sifting through my own existential crisis at the moment.
You need to keep hunting for these things. They need something to believe in. You need to just keep searching for your truth. It's great stuff.
Where'd this come from?
I don't know, I just got it mailed to me. There's no name or return address on the package. I'm gonna give that guy a call, see what we can find.
Doug Greywood.
He just got the greatest gift. Stay vigilant, my cryptozoids. We go out there, we see what we can find, and we do a little filming.
Seems off to me.
We're cryptozoologists. We should want things to be off.
Sorry, I didn't mean to scare you. Doug Greywood, you must be the guy with the video? I'm very excited about this whole chupacabra situation. Never had anything that exciting on here before.
It's time to get famous.
We used to fear the unknown, now we simply fear being unknown.
Boom, there you go. That was the trailer for Greywood's Plot, dropping on digital worldwide on all platforms on September 16th. I'm Kuya P. This is Nerds Rule the World. And as you see on the screen, I have some special guests. I'm super excited. Filmmakers, stars, writers, directors, producers. They do it all in this. When we're indie filmmakers, you got to do it all. Shout out to them for having that love and that forthright to just keep it pushing and making it happen. Super excited to welcome Josh Stifter and Daniel Degnan. Thank you both immensely for your time today.
Thanks, man. Thanks for having us on the show.
Yeah,
Definitely.
This is great.
Definitely, guys. Congrats again. I know how hard it is to push out our work, and when it's finally out there, all that labor of love to be seen is what's going to be the payoff. So congrats again on that. I saw in my notes, you guys kind of know each other from way back when. Y'all go back a little bit.
We're kind of friends.
A couple other pair of gentlemen that came together to do this. Talk to me about that. How long y'all known each other? Middle school. Let me get some old school stories about you guys.
Yeah, we met actually in kindergarten. Daniel was the tallest kid in the class, and I was the shortest kid in the class. And I think we bonded over that, where we were just like, okay, we're gonna be picked on for this, so let's get together. And then we started hanging out. We lived relatively close to each other, and we would take it to the filmmaking. We would steal our parents' video cameras. This was like in the early age of dads all having their VHS camera, and it was expensive enough that you had to ask or sneak it, but inexpensive enough that they let you play with it every once in a while. And so we would take that and film, and Daniel being tall and me being short, I got behind the camera, he got in front of it, and we would get those epic angles as much as we could.
I love that. Daniel, tell me a little bit about that growing up with Josh.
Yeah. Well, I always remember, and Keith Radichel is the third lead in the film. Josh has known him for since they were 15 days old. So Keith even has a one leg up on me. But I remember, we were in kindergarten together, and Halloween specifically, back in the 90s, everyone was dressed as astronauts and construction workers and princesses. And Josh was the only other kid that was wearing a skeleton suit. And
that's right.
He and I had the exact same skeleton pajamas on. And
that's so
I
funny.
was so mad because he had his face done too. He had the full skull makeup on as well. And my parents just were too lazy to even bother. So I immediately knew, I'm like, all right, I guess, we might be best friends. And we found out we live a block away from each other after that. And it's just we've been going ever since.
I love stuff like that. I love stories like that. That is absolutely awesome. That's super cool. I wish I had friends that long. I was a military brat, so I was raised all over the world. Didn't have long friends. My friends were actually the product I would consume, which got me into being a creative. The comic books I was consuming, the films I was consuming.
Right.
So those became my best friends. So let that be my guide to my next question. What films were you into that maybe led into inspiring this project?
Yeah, it's funny because like we were into horror young, but we were very wimpy. So it took a long time for us to like actually embrace true horror films. I wish I could say like we grew up on Nightmare on Elm Street. I was sneaking across the road and watching stuff like that with the older neighbor kids, but I also was like keeping it a secret and not letting anyone know. And Dan and we'd do movie nights together. We'd do sleepovers when we were, 9 years old, and we would rent Gremlins and Tremors. We would do like these big movie nights where we get a ton of candy and we watch Tremors, Gremlins, and I just like the schlocky horror of that era, kid horror, Jurassic Park. And then we slowly got into the R-rated stuff as our parents let us watch it. And it'd be like, hey man, this movie Relic came out. Let's watch Relic. That was like a big one. I don't know why Relic was like, it was huge for us.
It was huge. Yeah. I don't know why either.
Back in the day of the movie rental shop where you'd go in, and if the kid behind the counter liked Relic, you saw Relic because they chose what movie you watch.
Yeah. Well, and Keith, again, our third lead, his family, like, he grew up in a huge family and they all love movies. And they were the ones with the cable box. And so they were recording
the illegal pay-per-view box.
Yeah, they were elite. They were like recording everything off of HBO and Cinemax. So they had those VHS tapes with like 4 movies spliced onto it. And they had like a legit binder, like alphabetic binder. If you were looking for a movie, it would be like tape 4, minute 56. Here's Friday the 13th, or here's Child's Play.
You had to get through Music Man to watch Gremlins. I remember that like so specifically. Like I've seen the last 5 minutes of the Music Man 1,000 times to watch Gremlins.
Dude, those were so my parents, which I love. There's nothing like going to the VHS store, Blockbuster. That I'm showing my age a little bit. VHS tapes were there's nothing like it, and that began that love of film. So I would have totally hung out with you guys and had fun.
Oh, absolutely.
So again, inspiring into this Greywood's plot. What grabbed me, I'm a big fan of Bigfoot, and so I saw like the whole cryptozoic theme going on a little bit. Tell me about that and like those nuggets that helps create this process. And you both collaborated, I believe, on the script for this, right?
Yeah. We grew up watching the X-Files, and that was a huge part of it. And the X-Files, even though it was fake, like that show really was sort of like the Unsolved Mysteries era, the show that made you go like, but could one of these, there's so many, there's potential here that there could be some real monsters out there. And so that always stuck with me. And I think as we started writing this movie, I really wanted to do something with that world, even if the movie very much sort of like tries to almost spoof it at times and play off of the concept or make fun of people who still believe in Bigfoot a little bit. I think there's a love for it too, that is saying like, hey man, people connect with these things, and it actually builds friendships over this stuff. So for me, that was a big part of writing it.
Awesome. How about you, Daniel?
Like with what Josh said, I completely agree. That's what we grew up with, and we wanted to do something that was sort of an homage, and we started filming, and through filming, it was a colored film, and then we found out that it looked really great in black and white. And so from that point forward, we even stacked on more like Universal monsters and like 50s B movie type sensibilities, and kept pushing that too. And so all of that informed, being the writers and the director and the editor, when you're doing it yourself, we were able to really find the film as we were making the film. And so, we just found all of those influences bleeding through, and that's, what the end result became.
Hell yeah. I love it. My next question was going to be the choice to go with black and white. And I think it was a brilliant choice. It actually grabs me and provokes me to want to check it out more, because you rarely see that every now and then. And I'm of that old school, again, showing my age again a little bit. I love that, and you can play around with it a little bit more.
Yeah, that's what happened. Yeah. Josh will tell you.
No, I was just going to say, I think one of the things that really clicked with me was when we were making our first feature, The Good Exorcist. After the movie got done, a friend of mine said, this movie is like a Mystery Science Theater 3000 movie, except if the riffs are built right into it. And so when I went into this one, I was like, okay, we don't have the budget. We're making this movie for nothing, and it's going to show no matter what we do. So how do we embrace that campiness of the Ed Wood movies, of the B movies we grew up loving? And so going to black and white and visually making certain choices with it, like light leaks and the way the dust just kind of nastily lingers in the air. That was all to try to find that sort of vibe.
Awesome. Well, I dig it. I dig it. All right. So you come up with this screenplay, you go to shoot. What was production like? In my notes again, you guys shot it in Minnesota. Is that the hometown area? Did you already have locations on lock? What was that whole process like, and how long did it take to film all of Greywood's plot?
I'll let Josh feel that one again.
Yeah, we filmed all over Minnesota, and we know Minnesota. Dan and I had lived there. I moved to Atlanta recently, but we had lived in Minnesota. I had lived there for 35 years when I moved this last year. And so we know Minnesota, and we know what we can get away with. We knew that we could call up a bar and be like, hey, we want to film a scene. Can we come in a Sunday morning? And in Minnesota, they're going to be like, sure, why not? Versus, in Atlanta or LA, they're going to be like, how much money do you have? What are you going to pay?
Yeah, what's the budget?
Yeah, what's the budget? They didn't even ask. They're just like, yeah, show up Sunday morning and you could film. We had my sister's backyard. We had this other area of woods that had a cabin already built on it. That was just like the cabin where it's my cousin's family would have fires and they'd play cards in the cabin. It was sort of their drinking hut. And we were like, hey, this cabin's kind of creepy. Can we film there?
Yeah.
So we had these locations and we just sort of embraced what we had, which is sort of the key to making something when you have nothing, is using the locations. And we had, my house. So we filmed a bunch of stuff at my house. We filmed a bunch of stuff at the place Dan worked. We filmed a sequence in their basement without telling them. I mean, you probably told them at least something.
Yeah, I didn't tell them what we were doing exactly, but I just told we were shooting a little something, and they went along with it.
Could you imagine if they walked in and they saw us?
If only.
Yeah.
We just took locations when we could get them, and filming. How long did it take? It was probably.
I mean, it's weird
collectively.
Yeah, so it's weird because I tried breaking it down recently and going okay, when did we film? Because I had all the call sheets. So I wanted to go was this a 14-day shoot? How many actual days? And I think in reality, we filmed about 22 days worth of shooting, but we were weekend warriors. We just did it when we could. And so, there's scenes in it where I was like, hey, Keith, are you busy this afternoon? And he'd be like, well, I'm working. Can I come over after work? I'm like, yeah. And the two of us would just film a sequence together. So it was a real, just go with the flow and figure it out. And the positive of that with no budget filmmaking is we were able to really find our characters and hone what we wanted to do. And also, the actual budget of this movie, I couldn't tell you because we would spend $5 here and $5 there, and then I'd buy the guys dinner afterwards. It was probably a couple grand when all is said and done. No more than we would have spent a lot more if the four of us had gone on a vacation together.
Yeah,
that's awesome. I love guerrilla filmmaking. As creatives, that just it's hard to get a budget.
Yeah,
and I see from looking at both of y'all's IMDb's, y'all been in the game like I have for a while, and then you kind of just do a passion project. To just really express that creativity that's inside. So I love that. Props to you guys both. What would you say is the biggest thing you learned doing that and just creating this project for yourselves and now getting it out to the world, which is awesome?
Yeah, I learned, for me, I'll just take it real quick first. I learned a lot about distribution through this whole process because the first movie that we did was with Robert Rodriguez's Rebel Without a Crew series. And so there was rights issues and the whole thing was not a conventional distribution process. With this one, I've learned a ton working with Terror Films and seeing what they do, seeing how they've added to the film, how they've brought their own flavor to it, and that's been really great. And I also, for me, I learned not to take anything too seriously or treat anything too sacred. We really just went with the flow on this one and found things and found ways to make the best movie we could with what we had.
Love that. How about you, Daniel?
Yeah, sort of the same thing. I mean, I think for both of us, I think it just reaffirmed a lot of stuff that we just trusted our gut. We knew that this was a movie that if we had waited for funding or waited for somebody to produce it, it may have never happened. Once we started distributing it, like everybody's like, yeah, we can't sell a black and white film. Like, where's the color? Do you have the colorized version? Where's the colored version? And we're like, yeah, we don't have that. And so it just kind of like, but people who have seen it and like understand what we were going for, like totally get it, And so we trusted our gut with this one, and we knew like, let's just do it on our own terms when we can, how we can, and what we can afford. And yeah, I think it just kind of reaffirms those filmmaking aspirations of like, okay, we do know what we're doing, and we do know that people are digging what what we're bringing. So yeah, it was just cool to now sort of start to see that response from people.
Hell yeah. Well, dude, I love it. I love just the act of filmmaking. I haven't had a chance to see it yet. I'm excited to watch it. The trailer looks amazing. And just hearing the stories, just always, I don't know about you guys, when you fall in love with film as filmmakers, right? And then you learn the backgrounds on things, it just increases that just passion even more, and 100%. Just gives you that drive. So I love this. And so I thank you for giving me renewing that passion as always when I talk film. Guys.
We gotta keep each other going for sure.
Well, totally. There's nothing that's more inspiring to me. I can watch the greatest movie. I can watch the best behind the scenes of a filmmaking thing, but nothing inspires me more than talking with filmmakers about film. That always makes me want to go make movies.
Hell yeah. All right, guys. Well, thank you so much for your time. Everybody check out Greywood's Plot from Terror Films when it drops on September 16th on all digital platforms. Josh Stifter, Daniel Degnan. How can my people reach out to you? Is there any socials we can throw out at people? And I'll also put it in the description below.
Yeah, perfect. We're on all the social medias. I'm on Twitter at Josh Stifter. I'm on Instagram at Flush Studios. Flush Studios is my company. JoshStifter.com. You can contact me through that and check out where the movie is going to drop. I'll have a banner when you can go get it. And you can get The Good Exorcist on there as well.
Excellent. Daniel.
Yeah. I'm on Twitter. I think it's at Daniel_Degnan, and Instagram at Daniel Degnan. Come find us. Come talk film.
Hell yeah, guys. Congrats again. You love to see it as fellow filmmakers. And, I love to hype up utilizing my platform to do that. So congrats again, everybody. Again, Greywood's Plot drops from Terror Films on September 16th on all digital platforms. I am Kuya P. This is Nerds Rule the World.